As you can see from the thumbnail, Man United scumbagged this win. We absolutely scumbagged this win. But you know what? Call us the highwayman, cops and robbers, Bonnie and Clyde, whatever you want to say, but we will take it and we will run. Because, as I've been saying, it's been the slogan on this channel for a while now, when it rains, it pours in Manchester. And for the first time in a long while, we had that one ray of sunshine, that one beam of sunlight that cracked through the rays of sun, through the rain. And we finally got a little bit of luck, which sometimes when a team is down, a team is out, a team is struggling, a team looks crap, devoid of ideas, devoid of confidence, you need Lady Luck to shine upon you and to just get a win by any means necessary. So call us the highwayman, call us Bonnie and Clyde, whatever you want to say, but we'll take it and we'll run. But now that we've got the pleasantries out of the way, we needed the 3 points. And hey, United fans, guess what? We're back in the top half of the table. That deserves some level of praise, right? Well, we're 9th in the league now. Can finally at least say we're in the top half of the table, so we're, a bit further away from the relegation zone, since that's probably where we're heading towards with some of the performances we've been having this season so far. Of course, we take the win. It's very important to at least go into that international break with a win under our belt, at least enter that period of one. The players disperse, go away to their international teams, that they know that they're coming back to a camp where their last performance was a win. Now, putting that to one side, we have to get into the player ratings, and this is very, very important. I can say with a certain amount of conviction that if we had lost this game today, I can only assume that Ten Hag would be staring down the barrel of a sack. Rightly or wrongly, I know there's still a lot of people that support him. I myself don't believe is ready to get rid of the manager. But if we had gone on to lose this game today, I'd be hard pressed to find anyone that'd be able to fully, really and truly sit there and say with 100% chest that this manager doesn't deserve to potentially be getting sacked. At least to accept that. Whether they agree with it wholeheartedly, there's no United fan worth their soul, I believe, if we lost today, can wholeheartedly say that the manager's job should be safe. If we look at things from the beginning, if I just quickly bring up the lineup so you can have a look for yourself, I'll just close this all down, open up the lineup. Some of the things that people took issue with, Rashford being back into this team. Why was Rashford here? We saw when Garnacho came on how big of a difference he made. Bruno Fernandez, again, been shifted out to the right wing. Fully ineffective. Guy did nothing the entire game whilst he was shifted out to the right wing. Mount, another game, completely anonymous. At times in the first half, got a couple of good touches here and there, couple of half turns, tried to link play here and there, but the minute again he was pushed out to the right wing in the second half, Bruno came inside in the second half, ghosted. He had already started to ghost in the first half, but then he went from just being maybe a ghost to a full-on shadow in that second half. Gone. Hojlund held the ball up well, created space, tried to run the channels, but had absolutely nothing again, feeding off of scraps. Again, feeding off of scraps. If not for this Champions League performance that he had, where he showed his quality, showed what he's capable of, a lot of people would probably be already on Hojlund's back. Speaking of him of being someone that's not done much for the club yet, he's not impressed. Where are the goals? Luckily, he turned up and he showed out in the Champions League. Or else right now, a lot of us United fans will still not know what his qualities are like in front of goal because we don't create anything. Did he have a chance at the back post to tap it in? A chance at the front post? A header around the penalty box? Around the penalty spot, that he narrowly missed, for example. Did he have any of this? 1v1 opportunity with the keeper, edge of the box? We saw nothing. Haaland has had such an abundance of chances this year. The amount of tap-ins this guy has missed this season is a joke. Haaland currently is not really on form, to be honest, in terms of his conversion. He's missed, just off the top of my head, I'm not even a Man City fan, 4 I can bring to memory. In one game, he had 2 chances at the back post, crosses from Doku, missed both. Against Leipzig, he did the same, cross from Foden at the back post. Same thing. And the issue is both teams, against the smaller teams, both clubs, Man United and Man City, against smaller clubs, we face the same thing. Low blocks, deep lines, but even more so with Man City. But it's the lack of quality. That ball that Foden played in for Hojlund at the back post was inch perfect. The way he wrapped his foot around that ball and it just curled around the defense straight to the back post for Hojlund to tap it in. Sorry. Where is that little bit of quality for Hojlund in our team? Amrabat. To be honest, I need to see a lot more from Amrabat. And I'm not even going to put it entirely down to him because I'm clearly seeing that we're playing a system that we're not prioritizing controlling the game, monopolizing possession, and playing a lot of passes, one-touch, two-touch play, fizzing the ball in between the lines to create space, taking the ball in the half-10. All the qualities and the strengths that were brought in the likes of Amrabat for, we're not seeing it. Makeshift defense, I wouldn't really attribute the goal that was scored to any of the defenders. Of course, it came from an innocuous shot that Onana missed. We'll have to get into that in the player ratings. So all in all, overall, in terms of footballing, it was horrendous. And only because on the day that, of course, the day after it was announced of the passing of Lady Ferguson, of course, the wife of Sir Alex Ferguson, it is quite fitting, I'd say, that the day after, the game after, we were able to go out there and it was a typical Fergie time win. 6 minutes of added time given, and we scored in the 92nd and 97th minute. So we have to take it, like I said, take it and run, but there's still a lot of things to be deeply concerned about as a United fan. So now we'll move on to the player ratings. First person that we'll have to talk about, of course, is the man in net, being Andre Onana. Now, this one here is tough. It's tough. A lot of the things we saw on the ball, the stuff on the ball, over, going long constantly into the channels, going long to Hojlund constantly, all these things, I wouldn't put it down exclusively to being an issue with Onana. Yes, there was some misplaced long passes, but why was he brought in if we're going to continue going long? This is some of the stuff that people that are the De Gea stands take concern with. We're going into the channels, long balls over and over and over again, not playing out the back, not any sort of build-up play, no sort of in our own third, trying to control the ball and work it into creating a high percentage chance in the enemy's final third. We don't do that. We brought in the best ball-playing goalkeeper in the world to hit long balls. At that point, we may as well have kept the hair and then, just continue doing what we're doing. Yes, the hair was making mistakes, but it wasn't to the frequency that Onana's currently doing it. And at the very least, the hair, anyone can spam a long ball. That's what we've currently got this guy in, to be a great spammer. Because some of the long balls he did, like the one to Bruno in the first half, was amazing. But that's not why we brought him in. So why are we not playing the football that we bought this personnel for? The same thing goes for an Amrabat. He played the most passes, progressive passes, in the Serie A last season, playing for Fiorentina, a team that dominates most of the ball in games in Serie A. Yet, at Manchester United, he's not getting as many touches on the ball because we're bypassing the midfield to go into the forwards. So why bring in a high volume passer if you're going to bypass the midfield? These are the things we're talking about, the people that are the detractors of Ten Hag. And even if you're someone that supports Ten Hag's, it's still food for thought. Because the profile of players being bought and the way we're playing are not coinciding at the moment. Which is why on the pitch they look completely lost. Onana, now I've tried to make excuses for this guy. I've tried making excuses time and time again. But this is now what? In the last 4 games, 3 pretty high profile errors. Beforehand, you could say that a lot of the things that people were trying to attribute to Onana's fault, you could have said, you know what, a defender could have done this maybe, or come on, that shot was too hard, he really shouldn't be saving that. But when you see, for example, the one against Bayern, the one against Galatasaray, today as well, you can't really and truly be making excuses for this guy at the moment. There's absolutely no way you can excuse what's being done by Onana currently. So that today was not good enough. Yes, it's not your fault that you're not able to help us build up play because clearly it's instructional, but you're hitting aimless long balls. You're unable to catch very, very simple balls. This is a team that came here to scumbag a win. They never scored a goal at Old Trafford, so they came here with a game plan to stifle us and see if they could nick something, and you gave them life. Because of Onana, they caught life. They didn't create anything of substance throughout the game. They were toothless going forward, but one decent attempt in our box, they were able to work one simple shot on target, and he fumbles it into his own net. And then all of a sudden, they have something to fight for, and it takes us to the 90 plus minutes of the game to get something because he gave them that. You could argue, of course, yes, the game is down to the team then to bring him out of that pit that's put them in. The forwards do their job, the midfields do their job. We score 1, 2, 3 goals and we put the game to bed regardless of the mistake. But irrespective of that, you have to be marked down on your personal performance. So for me, Onana today, it's got to be a 3. Tell me what you guys think of my rating of Onana. Would you have gone lower? Do you think I'm being harsh? But I'm currently have to say a 3 because honestly speaking, let's call a spade a spade. It was not good enough in the slightest. Next play we're going to move on to now. Dalot. Dalot was definitely not a 3 today. Don't even watch that. So Dalot was good today. You saw frequently Dalot was able to get into the midfield, nip in and quickly take the ball before the opposition player was able to get a run on him. He was defensively sound. He worked tirelessly. If you actually watch Dalot, the amount of time he's made overlapping runs to support the likes of an Anthony, to support the likes of a Bruno and a Mount when they went out to the right-hand side. You have to think about it logically. Anthony, even though he's a winger, he's not a very direct winger. He likes to go on the inside. He doesn't actually take the player down the outside, so he's very reliant on the overlap. Bruno is not a natural right winger. Mount is not a natural right winger. All these guys all want to go on the inside because they can't beat a man and go on the outside. So Dalot, if you see him head down the whole game, busting the gut to help his team, to help his man on the right wing, constantly flashing balls across the box. Dalot genuinely tried his best today, and he genuinely put in a shift. Defensively, like I said, pressured his man very well. Risa was not able to get any change out of him when he pulled out to the our right-hand side. He was not able to get any change out of Dalot. Dalot dominated his right-hand side defensively and also attacking. And of course, if you even want to look at the goal where they scored from, the goal that they scored did not even come from his side as well. Cool, it should have been dealt with regardless. But if you want to even attribute any sort of blame to the defenders, even though I say Onana's at fault, Dalot can't be blamed for anything. It wasn't an amazing performance in terms of going forward. Maybe could have done a bit more. But you have to also keep in mind the amount of players Brentford had back. They had 8 men in the box at certain points in the game, but he's still putting a shift back and forth. If this guy gets injured, I don't even know what we do because there's no one else, and he's actually one of the few players that, other than the Galatasaray game, has put in a pretty good shift this season. So Dalot, for this game, I'd actually give him a 7. He was solid all round, defensively and going forward. So Dalot's been out on a steady 7 most of the season, other than the Galatasaray game, I'll say it again. So it looks like he's bounced back a little bit from that previous performance. Tell me again if you guys agree with this. Next player we're going to have a look at now is Maguire. Maguire was actually alright, Maguire, he didn't do anything horrendously bad. We all know Maguire is more than capable of stinking the place out and being a cause for concern throughout the game. Maguire today, he wasn't bad. He wasn't bad at all. He actually got the assist for the McTominay goal. The second one, the one that ended up finishing off the match. So obviously he gets a little bonus there. Defensively was sound. I'd say he could have been better moving the ball through the midfield. Again, it was very static moving the ball. Left, right. No incisive passes. Maguire was brought in initially because he's meant to be a good ball playing centre back. I didn't see any of these grandiose switches he's meant to be capable of doing. Didn't see it. But that's not just a him problem. The majority of our centre backs are very much subpar when it comes to moving the ball through the lines. Other than Lisandro Martinez, who almost is like a midfielder at times, the way he pushes that ball into the midfield, they do not move the ball forward well. But defensively, Maguire was assured. Of course, you could argue Brentford came here to stink the place out. They had the record of never scoring a goal at Old Trafford in their history. So when they got a goal against us, they took it and they ran. And they went back into shape and they decided to stifle us. So Maguire wasn't tested this game, but just because a man wasn't tested doesn't mean I can bring him down because he weren't tested. Like I said, got the assist for the goal. Steady performance, didn't do anything major, but wasn't a cause for concern throughout the game. Just an average performance, to be fair. So just give him a 6. Just for the assist, I'll mark him a little bit more than average. It was alright. It didn't need to be more than average because he had no work defensively. Next player we're looking at, Evans. Evans today is a similar sort of situation to Maguire. Didn't have much to do going forward because, again, he's a centre-back that isn't very good on the ball. Can't carry the ball through the lines. Not very good at passing the ball through the lines. But this is not what we expected from him. He is 35 years old. You know what that tells you? He comes from the era of football before centre-backs were almost being as a priority, were meant to be great footballers and not just great defenders. So can I expect a 35-year-old who's never even elite in his heyday on the ball or as a defender to suddenly be this progressive ball-playing defender, stepping out like Sergio Ramos, hitting the channels with long passes? No. So I'm not going to judge him necessarily on that. Again, because Brentford came in with that game plan to defend for their lives, I can't mark him down on anything poor he did defensively. He wasn't tested much. But any of the few encounters he had, I remember in Buemo in the channels, I thought to myself, like the game against Arsenal, that he would get beaten in the channels. For example, Jesus came on and beat him just like that in the channels. So I was a bit worried when he was 1v1 in the channels versus Buemo, but he dealt with it well. It was an average performance all around, but there's no issues with that. He didn't have much to do throughout the game because Brentford were negative. So it's a 5 out of 10 for me. Simple, just an average, steady performance. Simple. Next person we're going to look at. There's going to be some juicy ones coming up. I'll tell you that. Because some of these, man, Lindelof. Linda again. I'll give him the pass because he was playing out at left back. He's not a left back. He can barely play centre back. But now you're going to put him on the left hand side. I remember when the time he got injured, he was on the left hand side providing an overlap for the first time in the game for Rashford. Then he almost looked like a deer in headlights, like he got a nosebleed when he got there. Hesitated before he put that ball across into the box, and of course, it went into no man's land. But would I blame him for that? He is not a left back. I don't want to be rude, but he's barely a centre back at this point. He's so off form. So Lindelof, he went off injured around was it the 60th minute? He went off injured, or just after half time. So Lindelof, he can't be any better than. I can't even really give him a 5. Not entirely down to him, but I can't give him more than a 4, sorry, not even a 5. Came off injured early, did look shaky, wasn't able to provide anything on that side, but he's not a left back. I'm sorry, he's just not a left back. And he's been poor most of the season. Hopefully, the injury is not too bad, but irrespective of the injury, he needed some time out of the team to work on his game and get back to a decent bit of form because we're going into a spell where we've got a lot of injured defenders, so we cannot have someone who's underperforming. I'd rather him be out of the team injured than in the team underperforming. So hopefully he gets there, gets on the training pitch, comes back better because we're going to need him. Next player we're looking at, Amrabat. I don't know what you guys United fans currently think about Amrabat. I'm actually slightly concerned. Not entirely because I think it's a bad signing. It's something that's not going to work out. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. Even if someone has that opinion, I wouldn't even recommend to voice that opinion necessarily because it's far too early. His first match, we've seen him actually in his position, which is central midfielder. So of course, for the people that are just coming in now, what you would have missed is me mentioning about Onana. Andre Onana playing as our goalkeeper and also buying someone like Amrabat tells you that we're trying to move towards a system of a lot of possession, controlling the ball in the final third, a lot of high volume passes in that area, drawing the team onto you and being able to play through the opposition. That's why we got in these types of signings. But then you're seeing Onana time and time again to fire long balls either into the channels for Rashford, who we all know doesn't jump, so don't ask me why, or fire the ball into Hojlund. Hojlund is great in the air. He's strong, he's physical, he's great. We all love Hojlund at this point. He's doing well for us. But Hojlund cannot deal with 2 centre-backs up his ass, pause, and also a CDM in front of him, maybe even 2 at times, pushing in front of him. So all they do is Pinnock the whole match was pressed onto Hojlund. He bully him, grab him, wrestle with him, and then someone like a Norgard or a Jensen just sits in front of Hojlund and picks up the loose ball. They bully him, stop him from bringing the ball down because he's strong, and then someone else picks it off him because we were forcing the long balls into the channels or up to Hojlund. But it was the point of bypassing Amrabat. Again, I said it before, the most progressive passer in the entire Serie A last season for Fiorentina. We were bypassing the midfield. Why is Amrabat playing then? Why is Amrabat in the team if we're going to bypass the midfield? Why bring in a high volume passer? I can't even still tell yet how good he actually is at firing the balls in between the lines. I saw a couple of times fizzed into Martial, fizzed into Hojlund, fizzed into Rashford. I saw a couple of times, but I'm not able to see enough. Because of the way we play football, it's just not conducive to actually seeing what your team and your players and your new signings are capable of. Who has seen yet what Mount is truly capable of? This is someone that's meant to have been able to get goals and assists based on the seasons he was on form winning player of the season for Chelsea. Where's the GA? Amrabat, meant to be a high volume passer, great at switching the play, great at firing balls in between the lines, great at breaking up play. I haven't seen any of that yet, really. We've seen some simple stuff side to side, but nothing more than that, frankly. Only recently, like I mentioned in the Champions League, we've seen what Hojlund's capable of in terms of, as a striker, how good he is at actually scoring. Can he create chances for himself? Yes, we saw him run from the halfway line to the goal, chip the keeper. We've seen him make front post and back post runs. We've seen him his composure in the box for the disallowed goal. Amrabat, Mount, some of these guys we've yet to see it. Even Onana, yes, he's been making mistake after mistake after mistake recently, but have we seen yet from Onana in enough games how good he genuinely can be on the ball? Because it seems like the minute now we're under pressure, we're reverting back to type and playing long ball football. Why are we not sticking with the game plan? Why are we not sticking to the reason why you decide to switch out certain profiles in the team? Amrabat today, a steady performance, didn't do anything drastically wrong, wasn't really that effective, eventually got taken out the lineup for, he was replaced by, I believe, McTominay, who will obviously go on to speak about later. Amrabat, it was an okay performance from him, so I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I can say we've only just reached the tip of the iceberg in terms of what Amrabat is capable of. There's a lot more to come from him, but until this system changes, I think we will struggle to start to see what Amrabat is actually capable of, and that's not through any fault of his own. It's a fault of how we're choosing to play football currently. But we'll see in it. Next person we're going to have a look at now. Casemiro. Casemiro, he was somewhat, you could say he was somewhat to blame for that first goal. Only marginal though, because he played a nothing ball, and then eventually that nothing ball was cut out, and when it was cut out, we went on to concede the goal. But you have to say that in terms of where you weight that conceding of goal to, it has to be Onana. You cannot put most of the blame onto Casemiro. Yes, he misplays a pass, but there was so much more that happened afterwards for it to go on and us to concede a goal. Now, question is, why was Casemiro taken off so quickly? Can anyone tell me in the chat, was it an injury? Was it poor play? Because Casemiro wasn't any poorer than Bruno, who I feel like was very poor today. Casemiro wasn't any worse than Amrabat. He wasn't any worse than Mason Mount. And also, he is, I believe, either the joint or the top goal scorer for Manchester United currently. So if we were running low on goals, we're running out of ideas, no one's scoring a goal, no one seemed to be like a goal threat, why would we keep Amrabat on the pitch, who's not a goal threat? Mason Mount isn't currently providing anything in terms of output. He's barely created a decent chance other than the cross he put from a corner for Casemiro. Why is Casemiro, one of our goal threats, being taken off at half-time? This is now a sort of a theme I've seen quite recently of Casemiro being taken off pretty early in games. Is it for poor performances? Is there something going on deeper? What is actually going on that Casemiro's been taken off early in games, which is something that you wouldn't have even dreamed of doing last season? If it's a performance-based thing, okay, cool. I have no qualms with the manager taking someone off because of poor performances. In fact, I wish he'd do more of that. But when you have people like Bruno in and around him doing nothing, Amrabat, if it's tactical because of a goal threat, would be more of the person to take off because he doesn't score goals. Mount is not doing anything moving the ball forward. He's been quite poor. You've still got people like Rashford stinking the place out. Why is he being prioritised? Was he particularly good today? No, I can't even remember any standout moments. Casemiro was not the best again today. Didn't do much throughout the whole game. I can't give Cas any more than a 5 today. I don't know what's going on with Casemiro. I just don't know. He's my favourite player at Manchester United, but like I said, you have to be fair and even-handed when you analyse people. It doesn't matter whether it's your favourite player, you hate the guy, you want him out of the club. You have to rate people based upon how they performed on the day. No put bias just to one side. It's got to be a 5 from Cass. I really hope and pray that things improve. I don't know what's going on with Cass. Hope there's nothing deeper going on. I just hope and pray there's nothing deeper, because then there's real problems at the club. 5 from Cass. Moving on now. Mason Mount. Where was he? Where was he? Another match, he goes missing. This is something that if you're in the spaces, I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably in the spaces and you routinely have a look at what other fans from other clubs are saying about their players. I'm sure a lot of you would have maybe been aware of what rival fans, Chelsea fans have been saying about Mason Mount. That the guy has this ability to go missing in a football stadium with 75,000 fans and you can't find him on the pitch. Again today, he's done it again. He's done it again, people. He somehow managed to go from somewhat ghosting in the first half when he was in the number 10 to full-on poltergeist, exorcism, the nun level of ghosting in the second half when he was put out to the right wing. I don't know what exactly he's meant to be doing, what his impact on the team is meant to be. I don't see him putting in any good crosses. I don't see him, providing any chance creation at all. I don't see him getting any shots off at the edge of the box. Even his defensive work hasn't looked all that good since the injury. Before the injury, his counter-pressing stats were really, really good. Right now, I'm not really seeing him nicking the ball off of people in their final third really quickly and getting us in there. Getting us into an attacking position very quickly. He doesn't look sharp. He doesn't look like he's capable of doing much. He doesn't look like he's going to move the needle for us currently in the squad. I just don't understand the signing. Bro, just as you say that, Mizzo, the guy's ghosting. Ghosting. So this guy, Mason Mount, he can't get any higher for me than, it's got to be, you can't get taken off that early as well. It's got to be no better than a 5. It's average. Very average today. Mediocre. And of course, mediocre stats for the majority of players who played. What does that tell you? If most of the team are getting mediocre stats, then of course, we are going to play mediocre. Look how we played. We scumbagged the win. I'm very happy we won, but performance-wise, it was highway robbery. Yes, Brentford set up to stink the place out, but they came with a game plan. We're the home team. It's us. It's our job. It's our job to beat them. It's not their job to come and beat us. Especially when you take about the disparity in the level of the size of the club, the level of the team, and the fact that they're away from home. They're well within their rights to set up negatively to scumbag a win. Of course, you could argue we out-scumbag the scumbags, but did we deserve it? Not really, but we're going to take it? Hell yeah. So we move on to the next player. Rashford. You know what? I might actually surprise certain people, but I don't think Rashford was that bad. Does Garnacho need to be starting in his place? Yes. Oh, yes, he does. But was Rashford so bad that he needs to be taken out of the team completely? I would say no, actually. I think Rashford was okay today. But like I said in my previous video, the way we currently play, it is not conducive of actually being able to play someone out of a bad spell. Because, look, the best way to get an attacking player back into form is for them to score a goal. Get confidence. He's very much a confidence player. How does a player like that Rashford derive confidence? From scoring goals. If he's not scoring goals, his confidence will only get lower and lower and lower, and performance will get worse and worse and worse. But Man United do not create chances, and the way we've always played, and it's only really being highlighted now, we expect players like Marcus Rashford to create their goal-scoring opportunities for themselves. So how can it's literally a never-ending cycle. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. He needs more confidence to score goals, but we don't create chances to score goals because we need him to score goals. You see that? He needs to score goals to get confidence, but he doesn't have confidence because he doesn't score goals because he has to create chances for himself, which he can't do because he doesn't have confidence. It's a never-ending cycle, and it just tells you as to why this guy is looking absolutely dog right now. And yes, like I said before, he wasn't particularly bad today. I actually thought in certain moments he looked somewhat exciting, somewhat up for the game. But overall, really and truly, nope, is not good enough. The guy needs some time out of the squad. That's another thing. Take him away from the limelight. Get the media pressure off of him. Get him out of the headlines because he's not being spoken about as he's not in the matchday squads or he's on the bench. Let Garnacho have a run in. Get him, drip feed him in, similar to when he was here under Jose when he was rotating between him and Martial. Get him that confidence from coming off the bench with less pressure to, come on when maybe teams are a bit tired legs. You're running out a tired fullback. Get some confidence from beating your man. Get some confidence for potentially scoring a goal against tired opposition. Then when you're ready. Your mind is mentally switched on. Back in the starting lineup and let's go from there. Because Garnacho, he actually provided something when he came on. He was integral even in that first goal we scored. Moving on to the next player now. Now we're going to have a look at Hojlund. Hojlund today, there's not even much I can say about him. On the ball, held the ball well, controlled it well, tireless running. The amount of pressing this guy does for us is crazy. No one else runs like Hojlund. He truly gets it. He wants to be here. You can tell already he loves the club. We already knew that anyway. On the ball, very strong. No one can push him off the ball. That's one thing I like about him. Physical, only 20 years old and he's this strong. It's crazy how much talent he has, how much the levels this guy can get to. But typically, we didn't create anything for him. Tell me if you think I'm lying. When did we create something for him either at the front post? Where was his front post opportunity? Back post. Ball in behind. Split the defense. In the box, something worked for him. In the air, anything, just anything. When? You'd rather have a situation like Chelsea have had with Nicholas Jackson. Man City have had at times with Haaland this season, not scoring, not finishing his chances. You'd rather that. That is somewhat a good problem to have. Because you're creating the chances, your striker's in the right areas. But right now, we have a striker in the right area and the chances aren't being created for him. So he's not able to get the goals. And at the end of the day, rightly or wrongly, could say rightly being his position, he will always get judged on the number of goals he scores this season, and the way the media and the rival fans will spin the story, it will always be without context. They won't mention the fact that the Man United don't create chances, Man United have poor, all these things. They'll say Haaland's crap, he only scored X goals this season. No context will be applied to this guy. Only the more tactically nous and more intelligent fans will be able to actually sit back and apply the context of how poor United have been as a club, and that's why, and as a team, that's why he's struggling to score goals. Not because he is a poor signing. Because I think it's very much the opposite. Hojlund just gets a 6 from me. Above average performance, didn't do anything wrong, didn't have an opportunity really to do anything right, so it's just a 6 from me. Steady. All I'm seeing these days is that Hojlund's got great all-round play. It's good to see, but I want to know how good he is as a striker consistently over a stretch of games. So he needs chances to prove us right or wrong about his ability in front of goal. Will we ever get to see that? We'll see. Next player we're looking at now. People in the chat, make sure you drop a subscribe on the channel. Trying to push as close to 100 subs as possible by the end of this week. Nearly there on 83, not far off reaching 90. So cool. Bruno Fernandez. No. This is 2 matches in a row now. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'm not a Bruno hater. People that have been on the channel, in and around the channel for a little while now, they'll know that I've actually got a lot of time for Bruno. Is he as good as maybe we initially thought? Is he performing as good as he initially did as he came in? Absolutely not. Is he as good as people may think he is? I think some people overrate him. But is he as bad as people think he is? Absolutely not. I think a lot of people aren't able to really discern how good or bad Bruno is. He's a very difficult player to judge because at times he looks like he could be the best player in his position in the world, and at other times it looks like you're thinking to yourself, why is he even in the matchday squad? A couple of games back, if you cast your minds back, people were saying that Bruno should be dropped alongside Rashford, and at that time I said personally I believe Rashford should be dropped and that Bruno should still maintain his place in the squad, especially at the time where we were getting Amrabat back into this team, and I thought that, we were going to have a decent midfield forming, and I wanted to see Bruno in a decent midfield. So now, guess what? Today, and in the Galatasaray game, but particularly today, we had a good midfielder. Amrabat, Casemiro, and Bruno Fernandez. Do not tell me that that is not a good midfield. Don't tell me that. That's a great midfield. That midfield, you can only really say a couple of teams in the league, you could fully say with chest is better than that midfield on paper. But the way Bruno performed today, inability to create chances, shots misfired, poor set pieces, couldn't find his man. Today, this guy could not hit the ocean from a boat. It was poor. On the ball just getting nicked off him. Not checking his 6. Nah, Bruno was not good today. This 6 out of 10 is just here for show, trust me. Bruno, again, I think this is back-to-back now. I'm going to give him a 4 out of 10. Because he's also the captain. We have to judge players on also their ability. This is not someone that's a squad player who just fill in space, there to cover grass. This is not Hannibal Magebury. If Hannibal Magebury performed the way Bruno did, you could argue 5 or 6 for his level. This is Bruno flipping Fernandez. Biggest chance creator in the Premier League since he's arrived. I expect far more from him. And he's the captain of big Manchester United. As much of a crap right now, that still means something. Need more from him. So it's a 4 from me for Bruno. No agendas. I'm just saying how it is. If he's great next game, don't worry. I'll be here. I'll be shameless. I'll give him his props. Next player now we're looking at. Martial came on. He actually linked the play quite well. He was involved in, being able to hold the ball up, higher up the pitch. Because now we had Hojlund and Martial who are both good in tight situations, both good on the ball, both have good feet as well. So Martial, he added a little bit here and there. We did have that disallowed goal, which you could argue you shouldn't have touched the ball for, but he wouldn't have known he was offside at the time. Martial, he contributed when he came on. It wasn't anything major. I'll give him a 5 out of 10. It was a solid performance coming off the bench. It wasn't anything crazy. Actually, I'll give him a 6 because for the time he was on, he definitely contributed to helping us maintain the ball high up the pitch, which was we were struggling with earlier because Rashford was losing the ball far too often. So Martial, I'll give him a 6 for his performance and his little cameo off the bench. Am I wrong? Tell me, am I wrong in the chat? Next person we're looking at now. Next person. So we're looking at Garnacho. Garnacho showed us in that short while what we were wishing, hoping and praying Rashford would have provided this game. The issue I have actually with the whole Garnacho situation is the fact that, Garnacho just had a son born, Enzo. Big ups to Garnacho. Big ups to him for that, innit? But I assumed the guy would be on paternity leave. So in the preview building up to this game, I thought to myself, okay, cool. Rashford should be dropped. He should not be playing currently for Manchester United, should not be starting. So I thought, okay, cool, I'll put Garnacho in. But then I saw the news, oh shit, Garnacho's having a child. I assumed paternity leave would be on the way. He wouldn't be able to be part of the matchday squad. But little did I know he was going to be part of the matchday squad and Rashford would be starting again. And similar to the previous fixtures that passed in the past week or so, Garnacho is replacing Rashford with about half an hour to go and doing more in half an hour than Rashford did in double the amount of time. So when will Ten Hag learn to be starting Garnacho over Marcus Rashford rather than trying to force playing him through that bad form? I said it before, and for the new people that just joined the match reaction, Rashford is in this cycle where because the team has been so reliant on him scoring goals and we literally force the ball to him. If you look at my tactical analysis I posted on the channel, you'll see when I read a thread I posted on Twitter of how we actually play. For the people that understand how Man United play, it's very much centered on individual brilliance, not systematic brilliance, individual brilliance. And when you have a player that's out of form, where do you expect the individual brilliance to come from? Rashford is a confidence player. He gains his confidence by scoring goals. To score goals, you need to create chances. But the way we play, we only create chances through Rashford. But Rashford doesn't have the confidence to create chances, so he doesn't score goals. So where does Rashford get his confidence from? Because we don't create chances for him to score, because he has to create it for himself. But he doesn't have the confidence to score for himself, so he doesn't get the confidence. So that's the cycle Rashford is trapped in. So what do you do then if he's not going to score goals to get confidence? You take him out and you allow Garnacho to start games. Get the hunger back into Rashford. He's hungry to start now. Maybe then that'll improve his performances. And even if you want to put hunger to one side, coming off the bench to play against tired legs, when you're Marcus Rashford fresh legs and you're one of the fastest players in the league, don't tell me Rashford can't have an impact against tired legs if Garnacho can do it. So if you can't get confidence from scoring goals, maybe you can get confidence from coming on late, beating his man because he's fresh legs and putting in a good ball for us to score from, getting assists. And then eventually slowly feed him back into the team. And if he starts to play better than Garnacho again, you bring him in. But Ten Hag is going to be stubborn with Marcus Rashford because, again, that's clearly one of his favourites, one of his sons. So we'll have to see what happens with that situation. But Garnacho was good. He came in, he provided an impact. I'll give him a solid 6 out of 10. He did his work when he came in, and he was very much integral to a scoring. Next person we're looking at, going to wrap this up pretty soon, McTominay. Oh, this is a player, yeah, and of course, a lot of people want him out the club, me included. But let's just put that to one side for a second. Very, very good for McTominay today. I said it. I was happy with him coming on because at the end of the day, we need to scumbag a win. We needed the goals, and this guy is a goal threat. McTominay is genuinely a goal threat. Love him or hate him. For Scotland, this guy is actually one of their biggest sources of goals. He scores braces on a regular for his Scottish national team. Well taken goals, especially that first one. The way he got his body, the way the technique to get his foot above the ball and volley that lower hard pass to keeper into the near post, that took a lot of tech. I can't lie. We all know McTominay strikes the ball very well. That's one of his few qualities. Again, McTominay, the second goal, great run at the front post, got the flick on from Maguire, heads it past the keeper. Can't argue the keeper should have done a little bit better, but it was far enough into that near post that, again, he scored. So McTominay, for what he was asked to do in terms of on the cameo, which was to make an impact, he made a real impact. For you guys that know about Street Fighter, have watched Street Fighter, this guy came in like Gyu Li. American with a tank top, jacked with a buzz cut. Came in McTerminator. That's why I said, you can see there, this is McTerminator. He transformed from McTominay into McTerminator this game. Absolutely killed it. So I'm loving the cameo, but he probably should not be in the team. Let's not even lie to ourselves. But you know, on the game, it's got to be an 8. I'll give him an 8 because you can't have a cameo much better than that. The guy was on the pitch for about 15 minutes and he absolutely shelled out. These are things we love to see. Last player we look at, Eriksen. Honestly, I love Eriksen, but I'm getting quite tired of him. I don't want to see Eriksen anymore in the starting lineup, even coming off the bench. I see him misplacing passes. He also had his own turn, along with Mount and Bruno, hitting the first man with crosses, overhitting passes. Off the ball, he's useless. On the ball, useless. Doesn't score goals, doesn't get assists, hasn't been progressing the ball well. Set piece specialist, my ass. I've said it before and I say it again. Eriksen is only useful in the squad if he's providing real quality on the ball. There's other players. It's not because he doesn't have legs necessarily. Yes, you can have not having legs isn't good enough in modern day football. You need legs. But at the end of the day, if you have absolute undeniable quality, that's when your lack of legs can be less of an issue and the team can work around that issue. Xabi Alonso, when he was playing at Bayern Munich, he was already not the quickest player, but he was long gone from his Liverpool days, long gone from Real Madrid. He was now at Bayern Munich. He was an old man, maybe 34, 35, even older than Eriksen, no legs at all. But on the ball, Xabi Alonso's passing range is one of the best you'll ever see in football history. So irrespective of his lack of pace, his football IQ and his ability to spray passes, pinpoint right into the end of someone's toe, it still meant that he was an asset even in the team that wants to play more aggressive football. He was still an asset and still starting games and winning the Bundesliga with Bayern Munich. But Eriksen, on the ball, he's providing no quality currently because he's out of form, and off the ball, he's worse than useless. So Eriksen currently, I don't want to see him anywhere near the starting lineup. Don't want to see him coming on. Did not contribute when he came on. 4 from Eriksen again. That's another game that I've ranked him poorly. I don't hate Eriksen, but he's just not been anywhere near the same player as before he got that injury from Andy Carroll. Andy Carroll ruined what little was left of this guy's career after that injury. So that's been my match reaction. We're going to rate Ten Hag today out of 10 on his performance because the last two goals that we scored were actually a result of just a great cameo performance from McTominay. It wasn't necessarily anything he did, any tactical adjustments. It was just throwing the kitchen sink and hoping that it stuck. So McTominay went in there and he scored 2 goals. That can't be put down to Erik Ten Hag. Yes, he brought him on, but that was the last roll of the dice because that was literally his last sub. So I'm not going to attribute the win really to Ten Hag. However, it's a good win for the manager. He needed that, of course, because the knives would have well and truly been out for him if we had lost this game. Ten Hag today doesn't get any higher than a 4 out of 10 because our overall performance, again, was absolutely insanely bad. And certain personnel need to be dropped. He didn't. And typically, when he took them off, we looked better immediately. And that's on the manager. So hopefully, things change from here. We have the international break. He can recuperate. These players can get a little bit of a break, the ones that aren't going on international duty. And we can start to sort out this tactical mess that we're in, ready and raring for the City game. Hopefully, we don't get an absolute pummeling incoming. That's been my match reaction. As you can see up there, not far off 90 subs. You guys push this as close to 90 as possible. That's been my match reaction. Love for the support the channel's been getting. Peace out, people.